Hello, and welcome to Life. Original text by Charles Mee, adapted by the ensemble. My name is Willow Jade Norton, and I am the director of the reading you are about to see. Now, I say reading because this is a new work in development, and the actors will be reading it for you today. A reading typically looks like all of the actors on stage with music stands, scripts in hands, performing for a live audience. The audience then offers feedback to future develop the play. Today is going to be similar, but where we aren't meeting in the same space, we are meeting in the same time. The Student Production Association of Lane Community College and myself greatly value live performance. And so today, everything is live. This is not pre-recorded. There are no editing, no green screens, no virtual backgrounds. We are just sharing this moment with you. Right now, the actors are in their houses, apartments, and bedrooms, right in front of their screens, eagerly awaiting to perform for you. New research shows that watching a live theater performance can synchronize your heartbeat with other people in the audience. So we invite you to transcend space and meet us in this time. Now, if you like what you see here today, consider making a donation to the Lane Community College Theater Department. Those funds go to student scholarships and opportunities for community members and students to make art together. Now, this play is absurd. It's nonsensical. It's silly and strange and wild and lovely. Possibly like life. Enjoy the show.
Hello. I was meant to be here before anyone else. I'm
the prologue.
In my day, we always had a prologue to tell everyone what their evening was to be.
Like a trailer.
So everyone wouldn't feel lost and hopeless and pointless and wondering what they were doing here.
Hello, I'm the actual prologue this evening. We're different each night, and this one's mine. And I gather that because I'm late.
You've been told things that just aren't true. We need to start over.
Even though these days it's no longer actually possible for prologue to say what something actually means.
Well, we can still tell them what they're about to see, though. You are about to see a world containing many, one might even say millions, of amazing individual human beings living in a world of absolute meaninglessness.
Wait a minute. There you go with the signing meeting. You heard the young one.
I'm young.
No one pretends anymore that they can say what anything means. I mean, philosophers don't pretend they can say that. Neurophysiologists, biologists, brain experts.
Playwrights will often tell you what everything means because they don't know any better. They think it is possible because they don't know anything except how to put together a narrative story with a beginning and a middle and an end. Cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. But then they write, and then they stop reading philosophy and science, and they start thinking they know what everything means.
They even think that their shows will tell an audience what to think about the lives, about the world, about society and politics and everything.
About theater.
And it will, but it will be, you know?
You know, it may be that Nietzsche, he turns out to have been right when he said people make up stories to hide from themselves. The fact that beneath their feet lies an abyss of utter meaninglessness.
Well, I think we can say now, more than that, is that everyone, meaningless or not, is a work of art. And I think everyone can agree with that. right?
And therefore an extraordinary, fantastic creature, a work of art.
The thing is, ultimately, the ultimate true prologue is that human beings are not able to understand their lives, or the world, or anything at all. We are able to experience life, but not to understand it. That's it for us. We experience life. We don't understand it.
I don't think people are gonna like that.
They want a story that makes everything come together, or at the very least, an explanation of what happened, some understanding of what it's all about, not just a bunch of random blah, blah, blah.
You know, it may be that they'll just have to figure it out for themselves. Although, of course, like life itself, I suppose that's only one possibility.
So everyone will need to content themselves not with understanding, but simply with the experience, whatever it may be. Or else, if that's not acceptable to them, then they can leave or go out and have a cup of coffee and a snack and then come back whenever, or else they could just leave if they would like to.
No, if they leave, they will feel bad, like they killed themselves. FOMO is the closest we get to knowing what suicide feels like from the other side.
Teenage girl in America steps forward, looking hesitant, and examines her surroundings. She does something self-destructive. I was hoping for a point. I was hoping for some help with my life. But, so, now I see, and so. People come through from one side to the other, in and out. Early fall in Eugene.
Yes, early fall.
Looks like beautiful oranges and reds, a rainbow of warm tones. Smells like pumpkin spice and hot chocolate and fresh rain. Sounds like frogs and rainfall on the rooftop as I'm trying to sleep. Feels cool and crisp with a soft breeze blowing on my bare skin.
Early fall feels like warmth. Smells spicy. Walking slowly down Broadway just to feel the crunch of the fallen leaves on the ground, while the air smells spicy from last-minute barbecues and bonfires. Seeing those walking fast, you know they are tourists and not from here.
Crisp, decaying, vibrant, quieting, reverence, a hallowed cathedral. A woman dressed in wool and silk and gold dances down the street, sparkling. The wind gracefully lifts the edges of her skirt, and the leaves rain around her. Her hair whips into her face, but she doesn't try to contain it.
Not quite old, but enough. The swings in the weather reverberate in my knees. They're sensitive in the chill. It smells like memories, school. The smells after a rain. Some may not like the smell. Some think it smells like mold. I love the cleanliness. The reflection of the sun after a rain against the sidewalk in the street. It can be blinding.
Late spring, passionate colors, yearning, reaching, blooming. That's what a song smells like. Flowers, wet, juicy flowers, and trees, and sweat, and fuck that blanket. I'm gonna run outside topless for the next 20 minutes until the rain comes back. It's quiet. A 30-story clown takes slow, easy, thunderous steps down 6th Street in well-worn clown regalia, displaying every color of springtime. As he smiles, you notice that birds are chirping. And suddenly there's sounds all around. He's gonna make everything okay. He's Clown God.
I can feel warm sun rays against a cool breeze. In my thoughts, my dad came to mind. However, it was followed by sorrow, thinking how he once lit up my world and was a source of joy.
My favorite season is summer. I walk outside and feel the warm sun bathing on my skin. I take a deep breath and smell fresh flowers. I taste lemonade and big scoops of ice cream in the air. A gray, fluffy cat walks by me, rubbing up against my leg, begging for some pets. I lean down to pet it, and it rolls on to its back. So I give it a belly rub, which gives me the biggest smile.
There's possibility and freedom. My self-esteem feels tight and kind of itches. It tastes like deli sandwiches and overripe fruit. Smells like someone else's house in a different city. I'm not with the people I thought I would be with. I try not to feel sad about that. Swimming in freezing cold water, freshly melted from the snow on the mountains, and watching kids on bikes pedaling as hard as they can uphill, with their parents walking close behind.
Summer, let the sun shine in. The cleansing sounds of the flowing water of the river, the taste of sweetness, the warmth and smoothness of the rocks against my body. A hummingbird with a fast pace and high energy flies right in front of my face as it zooms over to the hanging fuchsia and sips some sweet nectar as I smile.
After the song, a number of friends sit at cafe tables.
Having cups of tea.
Oh, so we're sitting like this. Tom and Edna are a couple at one table. Harriet and Millicent are a couple at another table. I'm at a table alone, talking on the phone to someone. George is also alone, with headphones in, Skyping with someone. Oh, we're friends.
To me, if I wanted to live a happy life, I would just want to live a life with you.
What do you mean if you wanted to have a happy life?
I do want to live a happy life. I do. Would you live your life with me?
Yes, I would love to. I love you.
I love you too.
Do you think we can be together our entire lives, or things will change? Will you change? Do you think your feelings will change?
The way I feel feels more certain than any way I've ever felt about anyone or anything. It feels forever. I've never been more sure of anything. I feel it so solidly within my whole self. I love you.
I want to live with you forever.
I know how I feel. This is how I feel.
Well, and feelings are absolute.
And you can count on it forever. You can depend on it. So it'll bring you total peace.
Could we be considered a couple and tell people when we introduce ourselves that we're a couple?
It could be forever.
Or not, if you prefer not.
Oh, I would like it because I love you, and just because of that. But also, this as a secondary benefit, it would make me feel so secure.
This is a feeling we like.
Nothing better.
Well, security is such a rare thing these days. I don't understand it. It feels so good, so warm, so eternal.
You would think it would be something everyone would hold on to, rather than have a fling, have another fling, marry again and again, feeling always on the edge of the cliff, anxious, and thinking it could all pass away at any moment.
That's why when I say I love you, I want you to know you can count on it forever. So we both feel secure in our lives, at peace, centered, warm, happy, at ease. When you think of how we used to live in the ocean in the salt water and you think we don't live there anymore, really we just took the ocean with us when we came on land. You know, the womb is an ocean, really. Babies begin in an ocean, and human blood has the same concentration of salt as seawater. And no matter where we are, on top of a mountain or in the middle of the desert, when we cry or sweat, we cry or sweat seawater. In the beginning, all human beings were half human and half animals, like the ichthyocentaur, which was half fish and half centaur. They were human down to the waist, and they were dolphins from the waist down, and they had the feet of horses or lions. They were related to seahorses. And so, for my diet, I shouldn't forget seaweed. Nori, digitata, kelp, bladderwrack, because the body should only take in foods that come from wet places. We need to replenish all those vitamins and minerals that come from the sea. This is why we recommend seaweed, and not just, as some people think, for body wraps and for your firming and toning seaweed facials, but as they say, what is good for the outside of your body is good for the inside too. Because we are all sea creatures, and we cannot thrive unless we embrace our oceanic selves and remember always to have an oceanic diet.
I brought you something.
Oh yeah? What's that?
It's a tree stump.
Oh yeah. A beautiful, decaying, rotting tree stump from the middle of the woods.
I have something too.
I'm leaving this here.
And you've inspired your friends. More art installations?
Popple. This was my childhood. This was my first pet. You can tell it's in great condition because I didn't let anyone else touch it. Soft, cuddly, warm, fur in orange and hair in green. Complimentary and wild. But more importantly, look, 2 positions. Can you believe that?
Well, this is an old leather elephant that really I was coerced into buying, but I still like to look at it because you can tell it's real leather from the hairs that are still left over on the ears.
Objects can be art. A pine tree, draped with paper bags and straws made of aluminum and cardboard.
A terracotta-colored flannel jacket, once belonging to a father, now to a daughter.
A soaking wet stuffed animal that appears brighter when the sun comes out. Then a cloud comes in.
Snowflake floats down from the sky and melts on the burnt branch.
Pink satin point shoes with the ribbons all frayed, sitting on top of a nightstand.
A butterfly diorama found in a secondhand store, brought home, admired.
A window pane with a handprint wishing to go outside.
With this guitar, we can touch without touching.
An old picture frame that used to have a family photo in it, but has been repurposed as a whiteboard.
Whoa, you're just gonna leave us here?
Well, I thought so. It's a nice place.
Well, just to be here for no reason at all?
Well, for the reason of being somewhere. You'd rather be somewhere than nowhere.
Right. Even though we have nothing to do.
Except to be.
To be, right. Is this a philosophical discussion?
What would you rather have?
I'd rather have lunch.
Oh, what do you eat?
I eat anything.
Oh, here. have a protein bar.
Thanks.
Okay.
But what is the point?
Of
Of being. I mean, what is the point? Like, is there life on other planets? Like, I mean, like after we're dead in a trillion years, some other planet will be the center of the universe, right? And maybe some of those life forms aren't what we think of as people with arms and legs and brains in a bone jar, but rather sentient silicone dust or octopi that move around like plants. And what is the point for them? To enjoy the moment or whatever time they have left? No worry about the point of life or the goal or the meaning or the purpose or the function or the job of it, just existence for a while and then disappearance? With everyone saying, oh, but that's a planet that can't support any life forms anyways because we're so far gone, not even the rocks remember us anymore?
right.
Well, I wasn't hoping just to get left behind. What I had in mind was an active life.
Sure.
But that's not how it's turned out.
And
Oh my God, it's a urinal.
Hi.
Hello.
Wow, the urinal, a celebrity?
Right, I know.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Well, I mean, are you making an appearance? Are you gonna give a speech or something?
I'm just visiting friends.
Wow. You know, I've always wondered what it would be like to be a urinal. Well, not that I'm pissed on or anything. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that in poor taste or anything. I mean, I really just always wondered what it would be like to be a urinal. So used all the time.
Well, sure, I'm sure you can imagine. Fate makes fools of us all, it seems.
Well, not really, actually.
Isn't it time?
No, not for objects.
If nobody has anything else in mind, I have a poem I would like to recite. Is that okay? I mean, I don't want to take attention from the urinal or anything. It's just, this is actually something I had in mind to do before they even got here, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, sure.
It's something, in fact, I hope everyone will join in on if you like.
Sure.
That would be great.
Great. Great. So I'll start and you join in.
Good.
Okay. Do what I do. Yeah. Get your arms in the air. Yeah. Like you just don't care. Oh, do I have your attention?
Hey!
Do I have your attention?
Hey, hey!
Do I have your attention?
Hey!
Do I have your attention?
Hey, hey. Let a professional take over, okay? Do I have your attention?
Hey.
Do I have your attention?
Hey, hey!
do I have your attention?
Hey!
Fuck it up. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't dance. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't dance. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't. Do I have your attention? Fuck it up. Dance. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't dance. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't dance. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't. Do I have your attention?
Do I have your attention?
Hey.
Do I have your attention?
Hey, hey.
Do I have your attention?
Hey, do I have your attention? Do I have your... Do I have your attention?
You're no good to the living if you're too afraid to bleed, and that's why your show starts now. Your show starts now.
We're experiencing
but not to understand it.
That's it for us. We experience life. We don't understand it.
So, we have these questions.
Why does my skin feel crooked?
Why does my dad not accept me for who I am?
Why do I feel like an imposter?
Why does the future seem so terrifying yet so full of possibilities?
Why do we have to apologize for asking a question?
Why can't I sit on a beach for the rest of my life?
Why is love so elusive?
Why couldn't I see?
Why do you believe you failed?
Why doesn't Spanish come as easily to me now as it did when I was 7?
Why can't the world just live in peace?
Why can't I keep anyone close?
Why is it that whenever something good happens, something bad is waiting just around the corner?
Why can't I remember anything from my past?
Why do we abuse each other?
Why does it feel like I'm moving through quicksand at times?
Why is love romanticized?
Why did you see them differently?
Why can't you just shut up?
Why do happy times seem to go by so fast?
Why can't I play in tune?
Why is it so difficult to lead a simple life?
Why is a dog in my lap?
Why is it so hard to take care of myself?
Why, when something good happens, am I waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Why do you look at me differently?
Why do you constantly try to convert subjectivity into objectivity? Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
And when we come to the end of the music and dancing, people find chairs in the cafe and sit down with one another and have a conversation. I miss postcards, you know? Postcards are unique and no one sends them anymore. It just isn't done. And I often wonder why not. Did society take a moral position on postcards?
It's true. With a novel or a book, you always come to an end. But you can just keep reading or writing one postcard after another and never come to an end. Each one of them unique and never an end. That's a kind of pleasure we simply don't practice anymore. Seems harmless enough when you think about it.
There's no point to it. And yet you're right. It's such a pleasure. It's not what you call goal-oriented. And that's the pleasure of it, I suppose.
And I like that you can never tell which is the front and which is the back of a postcard.
I'm worried about what we know these days. Leonardo da Vinci only had 83 books in his whole library. And you might say that was a lot of books for the 15th century. And that's true, but still, only 83 books? He wasn't distracted by a billion things. He could focus and think about what he really thought, thoroughly. Really spend some time thinking his thoughts, exploring them, seeing what he might do with it. Whereas these days, he might snap up a little bit of this and a little bit of that, stick them together and think, wow, that's cool, and move on. It's a superficial life. Yes, it might be wide-ranging, free, open life. Not so open that your brain falls out. Not closed-minded, but still superficial. To overcome that, to feel fully and subtly and completely all the nuances and little aspects, the deep flowing things. It's so hard these days. I think that's why so many of us turn to love and lovers, to lend meaning and support to the struggle.
I was hoping for a point. I was hoping for some help with my life, but so now I see, and so.
Hey, I'm worried about what we know these days. Anger loves a target. Don't make it yourself.
We are all the stars of our own story and writing it all the time.
We see you, girl.
Oh, they noticed me. They noticed me the way I notice them every time they walk in. I thought it would change something to be noticed, to be acknowledged, but as much as I am seen, I am not felt. I cannot touch another person for fear of hurting them like I hurt myself. They notice me now. Is that even what I wanted?
I like a lover who kisses my fingertips.
Oh, you're funny. Or even better, my wrists.
I like a lover who kisses my face and my eyelids, who spends a lot of time kissing my eyes, running their fingertips along my nose and their tongue along my lips.
I like a slow, deliberate touch.
I like a lover who plays with my feet.
I like a lover who's a little bit rough. I love having my hair pulled and my legs pinned like we're wrestling.
Well, I like a lover who holds my hips or enters me from behind. No, not behind, but from behind.
I like to have the lights on.
I like to have it last a long time.
I like to start with a few clothes and be undressed slowly.
I like to have my thighs massaged.
I like to hear a man say my name.
Oh.
The thing is, when you said we ought to be together, I thought you meant it.
Yeah, I did mean it.
Why don't we give you some space?
Bye, lady.
And then it turns out you travel all the time.
Just for my job, just to do my job.
And you want to keep that career?
Well, I think I should.
But I don't want to be with somebody who isn't with me.
So what, we're breaking up?
I didn't ever want to break up, but it seems you've left me no choice.
No, it's you who give me no choice. Really? No.
In childhood, in our father's house, we lived the happiest life. We knew our role and worked together. No one worked in isolation. That's what family looks like. That's what happiness looks like. I thought we saw the same picture.
I want happiness too. Heaven and earth were once a single form, but when they were separated from each other into two, they bore and delivered light into all things. Trees, winged creatures, beasts reared by the briny sea, and the human race. Following one's passion independently doesn't mean that they aren't a part of something great.
The best thing in life is a life free from sickness and the power to take hold each day of what one desires tightly.
The time of life is short, and holding someone tightly doesn't speak to the quality of that life, and then we're hidden beneath the earth and lie there for all time.
I can't.
Angry. Disappointed. Guess I'll just put you away and on you. Perfect shape. Okay.
I thought I was your only love.
I don't know what I want. I just know what it's like to be really, really sad.
That's not fair. You said open relationship. And that breaks my heart. When you say, I don't know what I want, that says to me, you don't want me.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I need to go check on her.
Give her a moment and take your own.
Okay. Thanks. Just don't let her leave altogether, please.
Well, a life should be open to a million fantastic choices.
Well, no human was ever born without suffering, and yet we work against it, scheming ways around it. Life is a harvest that people must reap like ears of corn. One grows, another falls. Why should we moan at this, the path of nature that we must tread?
Well, people need to grab as much pleasure as they can in their daily life. The future will always be unknown.
Yeah, a being is nothing but breath and shadow.
Well, time makes all things dark and brings them to oblivion.
A cup without a bottom is not put on the table.
It can only be lifted if one is prepared for a flood.
Getting back together. I wish I understood. There's just too many factors going on for me to understand. Getting back together. I wish I understood. There's just too many factors for me to understand.
We should all embrace love because
This is a good thing.
we need to be touched and we need to be felt.
We need nurturing. Hi, friends.
Okay, we need a manifestation of love.
Because life is a process of becoming.
And once you're involved in that, you're lost forever.
What a fantastic journey.
Every day is new. Every flower is new. Everything in the world, every morning of your life.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's pause for a moment. Actual prologue here. In Japan, the running of the water is a ceremony. You have to ask yourself, when was the last time you listened to the water?
People take showers and run water in their sinks every day of their lives, and they never hear it.
Exactly. All should go home tonight and turn on the faucet and just listen to the water.
Because
it's beautiful.
Well, regardless of everything going on with the pandemic, how many people these days are intimidated when someone says, I want to touch you?
Everybody has to be loved.
Yeah, you know, everyone, I was talking to a little boy once and I said to him, what can you do, David? And he said, I can spit. And he could spit. And then I said to him, what else can you do, David? And he said, I can put my finger up my nose. And I said, you bet you can. Isn't it some sort of miracle? That you can raise your hand whenever you want to and want to put your finger in your nose and it gets there. We should celebrate our wonder. Everyone, you've got to have people who are interested in your tree. And not the lollipop tree. And you've got to be interested in their tree. You've got to say, show me your tree, Johnny. Show me your tree, and then we'll know where we can begin.
You can't blame people for how they are.
Right.
I could agree with that.
I could agree with that.
Well, what's the argument here?
Well, not so simple. Sometimes you look at a camphor tree, you look at their branches and you see how tangled they are. And they make a person feel estranged from the tree in a way, but it's because the tree is divided into so many branches that sometimes the image of the tree is used to describe people in love.
What I think is what love is how you relate to people.
Or if your love is channeled in some other way, it's how you're cold or indifferent or hurtful to another person.
And so love is who you are and how you are and what kind of person you are.
It's the most factual thing about how you are.
Yeah, and you can't talk your way around it, make it come out some other way. It remains the deepest fact about you. The only way you really know how you relate to other human beings is in the most secret place, where you are most vulnerable, most open to your private self. When you're making love.
And you don't even know what you're doing until you're doing it. And then you see what sort of person you are, whether you're making love with someone else, then you've done it. It's not talk anymore. You've acted out the most private, deepest self and lodged it in the flesh of another human being.
So that another person feels pain or pleasure, and then you know, this is who I am.
This is what I do.
And who I am.
What I want to do.
What feels good to me.
The person or behavior I can't keep myself from is so strange, so idiosyncratic, is so odd, so that I usually repress it.
If I find myself irresistibly drawn to somebody with particular eyebrows or a comforting voice or something even stranger, a large birthmark or a lisp or a certain weakness, a vulnerability, so that I sense they are hurt and need me. And then I care for them like a wounded animal. This gives me purpose. If these are the things that make me weak and shaky with desire, I know this is my truest self. What makes me break out in a sweat, it feels incredible to me. And of course, I feel embarrassed by it because people will think things about me, about the kind of person I am.
And you think to yourself, I don't even know where this comes from. You think back through your childhood, could it have been this or that? But the thing that makes you crazy with desire is too exact and too strange to have come from anything you can remember.
You have touched the real mystery of human beings. The thing beyond any knowing. The thing so deep down, no one can tell you where it comes from.
And you hope it is good and sweet and generous and warm and gentle and lovely.
What you are giving to someone you love.
everyone, and welcome to the Q&A talkback for Life by Charles Mee, original text, adapted by this wonderful cast you see here. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the live chat on the YouTube or on our website, and we can have them answered. And here we have entering our wonderful moderator and our amazing director, Willow Jade Norton. She'll be handling all the facilitation, so any questions you want to ask, she'll ask it and she'll figure out how to find the answers you need. Here she is.
Thank you so much, Laura. And for all y'all that don't know, Laura has been our stage manager and also a writer in this process. So we're going to get to some, I have some questions for the actors and team, and then I'm going to be also looking at all of the questions from our viewers. So first, it's just always so curious to see who has done a virtual play before. Just raise your hand. Great. So about half of our team has, so this has been a new experience for half of our team. I think it's fascinating to have the parallels of what it is to do virtual theater and in-person theater. So does anyone want to speak to some of the differences that can be good or bad about how is it similar to in-person theater and how is it different? Ian.
My favorite difference is that I can act in sweatpants and socks and nobody knows. It's great. That is all.
I love that. That is so great. It looks like we've got a bunch of other folks. Marla.
Yes, the added technology, the unmuting and muting, and all the technology, usually actors don't have to worry about that when you're on stage. So that adds another dimension, which you really have to focus also on, which makes it fun, but challenging.
Yes, absolutely. I want to hear from more folks about this, but I also want to let the tell everyone that like we made our sets. So you can see behind everyone the lights, the plants, the angle, all of the things. This was set designing, and then all of the actors were responsible for building their own set. So that's something that typically doesn't happen in the process. And you aren't going to the theater, you are in your home. Anyone else want to talk about the differences of the virtual world? Gina, go for it.
Well, with the virtual world versus being in person with somebody is that in person, you're in a different place, you're focused and you're able to be in that moment. In virtual, you're trying to be in that moment and you're trying to be that character, and then all of a sudden something goes on in the world outside of it, and you're constantly having to force yourself to say, okay, I'm right here. Whatever chaos is going on out there needs to stay out there. The hounds of hell can stay out there. I need to focus to here. And it's just an interesting thing to try to separate those two and keep them separated as much as you can.
Excellent. Does any Elena, go for it.
Yeah, going off of what Gina just said, something that happened tonight because it's the afternoon as opposed to last night's show was there was a lot of noise happening outside during this entire show that was kind of distracting, and I don't even know if you guys could hear it sometimes. So that's definitely something that is a lot different than in-person theater, because in-person theater you just have everything that's in front of you, where everyone's in their home right now, so you have everything that's in your house and outside of your house to affect what's going on.
No, thank you so much. Also joining us is River, our dramaturg. For those of you who all don't know what dramaturgy is and what they do, it's like script doctoring. So River helped us with the flow of developing our piece. We have a great question actually about, it said, how did you all go about approaching this play, subject matter and script? So in that everyone was a writer in this process, and that we had then someone dedicated also to the overall shape. Anyone can speak to this. Yeah, go for it, Abigail.
in shaping the script to fit all of our personalities and putting our own lives all into this play, it really helped to like know each other and show the audience that this is who we are and this is our life, and we're showing it to you guys. So
Lovely. Yeah, just so the audience knows, there are 3 main sections that are all written by the cast. So that's the object sections, that's the why questions, and that's the seasonal questions. And then each performer was also, Charles Mee, the playwright, says to pillage from your own life and put it in the virtual stage. So we invited everyone to not just think about the sections that we allocated for the performers to write in, but really to think about how they wanted to reevaluate all of the things that they said and to have ownership over that. We've got some great questions where people are like, was the garbage monologue written by the playwright or the cast? So I think that's Ian's monologue that he does as installation. Actually, River basically rewrote that whole piece. River, do you want to talk about how did you go about kind of taking what Mee had written, which was like this 3-page thing, and like boiling it down?
Thank you for asking. That one was really fun. Sentient silicon dust, I think I remember putting in there. How did I go about that process? Personal process, I take something when I'm rewriting it and I break it down line for line as like an exposition. And I try to discern meaning at each step in the paragraph, and then rewrite for modern context often, or a different, you know, like a different subset of the population. If we're trying to put this on in, say, Charles Mee's original place, it was gonna, you know, New York a couple of decades ago. It was going to be on stage. It was going to be far more abstract than what we needed for our purposes. So part of, I think, trimming that monologue down was allowing it to fit inside a narrative of, oh, okay, these people are in a cafe together. They know each other. This is important because now this is something we can ground onto. It's like a beginning, middle, and an end, so to say. The prologue bits were another bit where Willow and I really reworked how the presentation came about. Originally, that was like 3 or 4 really long monologues, but we felt that it would be a little funnier if our actors could speak rapidly, almost on top of each other, and you guys performed brilliantly. You guys really, really brought that home. It was so fun to work with all of you guys. I just want to say one more time for everybody to see, you guys are a delight, each of you in your own little way. And thank you again, Willow, for including me in this process.
Absolutely. None of us got to meet each other, which has been an interesting experience to be fully remote from the beginning audition process to this moment of performing. I think Amy said yesterday, like, we never got to meet each other. But I hope that magically we can at some point. That would be lovely. I'm going to go on to some of the other questions. So I'm curious about, would y'all do another virtual show in this kind of remote landscape? And if you would, what lessons would you bring with you? Go for it, Laura.
So I would absolutely do another show in the virtual landscape. This was so fun and so engaging and so challenging. There are just all these new and complicated issues that you have to deal with in this new way. So it was a huge challenge, but also a great exercise of the abilities of everyone involved. I think that one of the lessons that I would take away from this is that people can still connect no matter how far you are. There's something very personal about being in a show. The cast gets really close. You know, it's a joke, you know, in non-COVID times that if someone gets a cold, everyone catches it, you know, that happens in a cast. Fortunately, we didn't have that experience, but we still had the same feeling of community and camaraderie, which I was scared about in the beginning, you know, these actors who I would never get to see. So I would take away the lesson that you can still connect just as much because we're all still people, still here in the same time together and in the same virtual space.
Thank you. That is beautiful. And I really have to give kudos to SPA. That's the Student Production Association, the group that produced this project. They, from the beginning, wanted to do this live with me because we recognize that there is something truly magic about sharing a breath, about sharing a moment with people. So that has always been the guiding force in moving this piece forward. Do others want to speak to what they bring with them, or is there anybody here who's like, no, I will not do? Okay, go for it, Abigail.
Oh, well, I would definitely do another virtual play, even without COVID, just because it's been such a lovely experience just to do something completely different than what I'm used to acting on stage. And something I would definitely take with me to the next virtual play would be making sure that I am unmuted every time I need to talk.
Yes, the technology. So for our audience, you can see us now. We look in the typical Zoom room structure, but in the show, it doesn't look like that. And I talk about in the curtain speech that this is live. So we use another software called the operating broadcast software that pulls the audio and the visual from the Zoom into a design that we decided. So the actors knew, like, if they're going to be in the corner of the screen or the down left corner of a screen. But in the moment, we just hope that it all works out. And when they talk about muting and unmuting, like, the performer is not in a scene, but their button is not unmuted and they rustle papers, that sound is then pulled into a scene that is happening. So that's that dynamic. Oh yeah, Laura, you want to speak to this?
Well, I just wanted to, while we're talking about OBS and the complicated software, I would like to give a huge shout out to James McConkey, who's our technical director and scenic designer for this. He took Willow's direction and totally made this thing. He had to learn a whole new software for this thing. He's been working in tech for, ages and is this master of the craft, and he had to learn this whole new thing all of a sudden, and he was amazing.
Yeah, huge kudos to James. Who's actually operating this for us right now, and that's how we're able to be here. Let's see here. I'm curious also about for folks, like, you haven't worked in new work development before, and for others that you're writers. Does anyone want to speak to what it would be like to wear these different hats, and that you have to be both a writer and a performer? Elena.
Well, I am definitely a lot more of an actor than a writer, although I do enjoy writing every once in a while. But doing this for this show was actually a lot of fun, and it really kind of helped me connect with the text I was saying a lot better, because it wasn't just reciting what someone else had wrote, it was reciting what I had wrote, so I know what that text means to me, and it really helped me do it better.
I love that. Ian, did you have something you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about, like, I actually had two different literal hats to put on, and then when I was reading the thing, I didn't actually have a hat, but that was a thing. Switching the hats was a thing for me, and remembering to put on which hat when. But also just like being able to express your own words and working on a piece where you don't know what it's going to be like at all. When I first read the script, it's like, I have no idea what is happening or how this is going to work out. But working with you, Willow, definitely like taught me a lot about what the point of art is and what the point of theater and writing is. Just like always emphasizing we're connecting, and that's why we do to share. So yeah, thank you. I think you're
Willow, you're muted.
There we go. That's great. It's perfect. This perfect moment of me showing that I'm muted. Thank you so much, Ian. That is really kind. It's true. The actors were given a script that vastly changed. Yes, Marla, do you have something? Go for it.
Yeah, I can say I love writing and I love acting. So merging both of those in this piece was so wonderful. I loved it by having our voices and Charles Mee voices all merging together. It was a really, really great opportunity to create art, which is, very hard in these pandemic times. So I'm very grateful. I definitely would do it again.
Lovely. We're going to want to probably wrap it up in just a moment or so, but are there things that you want our community to, or family members to know about either this process or just any last minute things that you'd like to share about your experience? Maybe themes.
Yeah. All right.
Go for it.
Yeah, I got one. I got one for
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
I don't know who's listening, so I'll try to keep this PG-13. I'm a really jaded person. I'm a fun-loving individual, and I try to stay. The glass is full, half full of air, half full of water. And to anybody's parents who are listening, the kids are all right. Watching this come together was really, really nice. I did not walk into this with a lot of hope. I love you, Willow, but I'm just going to be super honest about that. I thought this was going to be chaotic at best. And this was a shining example of people with a shared goal, each doing their part to make something greater than the individual parts. Y'all took to this with an abandon that maybe I'm isolated, maybe I've been away from the collegiate scene too long, but I haven't seen in a while, much less all stuck in your own homes without actually getting to hang out. So just parents, you did a good job. Grandparents, you probably set them up well. Keep doing that. Let's build a stronger societal fabric. Cheers to you all. Good job, team. Thanks again for being so great.
Thank you. I think we're going to end it on that note. That was perfect, River. Thank you everyone for watching today. Again, if you like what you saw here today, please consider supporting the Lane Community College Theater Department. You can donate on our page, and those scholarship funds go to opportunities for students and community members to make art together. So thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy your life.
The stream has ended.